Hello, this is Joanne. Welcome back to my channel. I have 67 raised beds in my garden, and this is bed number 56, which held the chamomile. What I need to do with the chamomile today is clean up the bed and get it going. Hi, I'm Joanne. I don't know if you can see me. I don't know. I kind of like the headless videos, but so the chamomile grew really well this year, and it has since dried. I harvested quite a bit. I like to drink my chamomile when it's fresh. This year what I did was I harvested most of my chamomile when they were fresh flowers and made tea with them. That is my favorite way to have chamomile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these out. I thought I had to cut them, but it looks like I can get them out. I don't really like pulling them by the roots, so actually I am going to cut them. The stalks need to be cleaned out. You could leave them all winter if you really liked. I'm going to be putting them right back in the bed, so it's not like they're going to go very far. I just want to be able to get these weeds out so that later in the fall and in the spring, I have less weeding to do. So the reason that you weed is just to prevent more weeds. So I'm just going to cut these out of my way here. I don't want to cut the weeds. I just want the stalks right now for the chamomile. Okay, so then you're going to see that I've got a lot of weeds in this bed. So I did invest in metal stakes this year. I used my label maker and then I wrote on them also. So I'll just put that aside. Because my chamomile, some of it is Roman and some of it is Salty Lane, which I do believe is an English version. So my chamomile will both come back as a perennial, which is why I leave some of the roots, and it will reseed itself. I will, and I've said this on all my other videos, I will still start 1 or 2 plants inside because to me, I want to have a bed where I have something growing in it where I expect it. So this is my chamomile bed. I expect to have chamomile here. I don't have a reason to move it. If I did, then I would change that. So, but right now, I like my chamomile here. This is where I expect it to be. A lot of things in my gardeners, I was looking at some permaculture ones, and I even made a comment. I love the idea of permaculture, but my brain can't handle the chaos. And I think I posted something such as that, and the guy said, I got a response back from the creator saying, yeah, a lot of people do have that, and he said it took one guy who was a permaculturist 3 days to realize what he even had, and then he started to see the patterns. So my pattern is this is the chamomile bed. I don't want to have weeds in my bed. So I'm going to get rid of the weeds. And that is one of the problems with growing things that are what I'd say one type of something, and if it doesn't shade out the ground, you're going to get weeds. Now, things like my oregano has no problems. There's one weed in that entire bed. I will get to it. But things like this, it never really quite shades the ground. And even though I mulch it heavily, it's never quite enough. So there will be weeds, but since I like to pull weeds, it's not so bad. But eventually the weeds get less and less. I think if you go back to my original chamomile video, it was a lot worse. So this is a lot better. We just had some rain, some drizzle rain. It didn't add up to much, but it is enough that when you want to go and clean your beds out, I'm really looking for these things. That's a seed head on that. It's coming up on this grass. So I want to get this out of here. And then I forgot what I was saying. Oh, well, that's wonderful. You just want to get as many weeds out as possible. And you just come along, and normally I would just lightly weed this, but I've been ignoring it. Now, there is chamomile growing over there. This tag even says Roman. I'm not sure. I have to double check. Like I said, it's chamomile. I don't think that's yarrow. we're going to leave it alone. We'll let it stay there because I can always pull it out later. Yarrow looks a lot like, it's got that feathery look to it, but yarrow isn't really working now. But what I did do is, when this still had flowers on it that were drying, once the flowers are dried, you can save the seeds. I did come along and knock some of the seeds back into the bed. I usually don't put them off to one side, but this plant was really, really growing. Oh, I got German and Roman. This plant was really growing more towards one side than the other this year. And then I get these inexpensive little fences because when they grow up, the wind tends to try to knock them. And that just keeps them so that they don't get run over by the lawnmower when it goes past. Because I really don't want my plants constantly being run over. The other thing I don't really want about my plants being run over is that when they're run over in the grass, if they do have seeds like the yarrow or some of the other spreaders that I have, even the catnip, I don't want those seeds spread everywhere. So this is kind of a way to help keep it in. Looks like I'm going to struggle here. Okay, you go this way, you're a weed, you go that way. It was so funny. I had planned to come out here and do this yesterday. I said, I got to get to the chamomile. And I look on my Facebook feed, and you can tell sometimes when people get in the west get rain ahead of me because I'm in the east. So a lot of even though my wind doesn't always blow that way, it tends to blow more from the south. Harder, I guess, even though most of it comes from the west. Okay, back to what I was doing. So I'm trying to leave the roots in the ground. You see me breaking the plant. And it just makes sense. So whatever soil, and see this one I pulled it out by mistake, but that's okay. Whatever microbes have worked to grow these plants, they've collected around the roots, and they're gonna, I'm not a microbiologist or anything, and they're gonna help my plants next year because they're already used to growing these plants. So the one thing I want to do is try to leave the roots. The other thing is I really don't, I know you see me digging the roots of the weeds out. That's because I want to get rid of the weeds, especially these are perennial weeds. These are going to come back stronger and stronger every year. This one happens to be a type of crabgrass, I think. I'm going to say I think because there are so many types out there. Sometimes I just lump things together. So I'm going to say crabgrass, and somebody's going to probably say, or I'm going to find out, oh no, that wasn't really a crabgrass. That was a tiger grass or a elliptical grass or something. I don't know. So you want to get these roots out as much as possible so that they don't come back. You're trying to make it hard for them. Right now they're trying to establish their roots as best they can because they know winter's coming, part of their life cycle. So I'm working between the fence. I should just take this out here. So they are trying to establish themselves, to make them, to send energy down to the roots. So now by me not only pulling the tops of the plants, they can't send energy. And this is Creeping Charlie. I really dislike Creeping Charlie, Creeping Jenny. It's got a whole bunch of different names. And I'm not getting the roots here somehow. There it is. There it is. So I want to get them out. I want to get as much. Now these are like, this one's a dandelion, but you're going to find that there's things called chicory that look a lot similar. Their leaves tend to be shorter, but their roots are incredible. So this is the root of the dandelion. It's going to go straight down. The roots of something like a chicory or something is going to go out, and you chop that into little bits, and you are going to get chicory everywhere. So I do fight it in some of my beds. I've learned my lesson over the years because one time I actually dug up a tree and thought, oh, I need some dirt for my new raised bed. And I used the dirt from where I dug the tree, and I saw the little roots, and I thought, no problem. I can tackle this. Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, this definitely looks like a chamomile. We're going to leave it. It's a healthy little plant. we'll let it establish its roots and get going for next year. I get to fight the, help me, let me out, help me, I'm stuck in the garden. Oh, I got a little mommy bean. Yes, sir. All right, let's just double check, make sure we didn't forget any. Just in case I didn't post an update, my little restraining device on my wrist is off, but I am far from healed. I still have to watch what I do. Okay, so this is what's left. I've gotten out the weeds now. Just double checking, because I always have to double check. I didn't rub the soil like I normally do, but because I'm going to know I'm going to run into the roots sticking up from the chamomile. So right there is the plant. It's sticking up. I don't want to pull it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I had put the seeds in here. And I said it before and I'll say it again. I will start 1 or 2 plants in the house, because to me that's the only way to make sure that I have chamomile. I mean, I'm going to trust that these are going to be here and they'll come up again. But if I start them in the house, 2 things happen too. If I start them in the house, 1, I'm guaranteed that I have a plant to put into my chamomile bed that's chamomile. The other thing that I'm guaranteed to do is, because I'm starting them inside and I'm starting them early, the benefit is that I will have chamomile. I will have almost like a succession plant. So I will have the stuff that started in the garden, which will be slower than the stuff that started in the house. And if I really want to get into it, and I have done it, I didn't do it this year on this. I did succession planting on my parsley and my cilantro this year. I can start once the plant is in and growing, if there's a bare spot, or, well, usually there's usually always a bare spot. I can come through and plant some seeds so that I get almost like a second or third crop. So it just depends on how much you want. I like chamomile, just a few cups of it. I like it when it's super fresh. So I usually tend to drink it once or twice. I'll drink the dried stuff that you get at the store. That's all right. I'm going to take these tags back. I don't want to use them. I'm trying to get the plastics out of my garden slowly. But I use the plastic tags because I bought rolls of thousands of them. And it's the way I mark my seedlings. This is how I'm marking my beds now. So I'm trying to take them out so that I don't leave them here, because plastic tends to break down. I've gotten these where they're just so crispy. And it doesn't seem to matter what plastic variety I buy. After a while, the plastic just breaks down. And the other thing is if you do anything like this where you write, don't use a Sharpie. A Sharpie will break down in the sunlight. It won't last. You think it's a permanent marker. It is a permanent marker on everything in the house. But when you come outside, it tends to fade over time. You want to get what they call it's an artist pen or something. If you look up plant marker, it'll come up with it. It's an artist or something. They tend to be, these are the ones that made this lettering, so that I have something in here. So my chamomile came up. I planted 2 into the garden so that I can keep perpetuating this. So then when I start my seeds again, that's why sometimes when I start my seeds, I have big trays and I have leftovers. So, and that's usually what happens. It's 1 or 2 of things that I started that I have to put in. So, but this is chamomile. It's all done. It's so funny because Marsha from Kansas Misfit just talked all about the benefits and the different ways to use chamomile. Like I said, I only drink it as fresh tea. I'll drink the tea bags, the store-bought ones, but not all the time. But she talks about all the benefits. So if you head over there, I'm going to try to link the video at the end. I don't know how to link the video any other way yet. I'm still learning, but thank you for watching. And this was the chamomile bed, all cleaned out and ready to go for next year. So enjoy, happy gardening, and whatever you do, don't give up.